Anastasius, welcome to the show. This has been quite a long time coming because we've been in communications for about a couple of months now since you sent me the copy of Monarchs of Camelot, which is coming up on Kickstarter very, very soon indeed. So, my friend, welcome.
Hello, Paco. It's a pleasure to be here also. Yes, we have been talking about that, but due to changes, due to holidays, due to many things, everything is delayed. Finally, we're here.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so of course, the reason you're here is because Rhapsody game is going to attempt again to release Monarchs of Camelot through Kickstarter. And this is not the first time that you try to go onto Kickstarter to do it. We will go into what happened there and why. But before that, tell me a little bit about Rhapsody Games. Who are you and what are you doing?
Well, Rhapsody Games is a company, a newfound company that's created by me and my brother 2 years ago. Um, for me, I'm in the gaming industry about 12 years. I have developed more than 50 games. I have designed 2 games that were published, and I have worked on more than 15 projects on Kickstarter.
Wow. So you
Actually, this was the 16th project and meant to be my first fail.
okay? Well, people say that we learn from failures. So hey, I'm sure that
No,
this has been.
no, no, no. Yeah, sure.
So, but we'll come about it in a second. So
Yeah.
you've gone through an awful lot of games. Monarchs of Camelot. This is a storytelling, card-driven game with a lot of very exciting things inside. Tell me about the game. What is it about and how does it play, very roughly?
Well, to begin with, it's Monarchs of Camelot is a game that starts its story after the death of King Arthur. So we keep the Arthurian theme to all our stories. Knights of the Round Table, whoever survived through the Battle of Camlann. We have the basic characters are the personalities that were closer to Arthur, so the players can play Lancelot, Nimue, Guinevere, and Lord Oberon, fan of Shakespeare also. And the game is as much as a storytelling game as an asymmetrical game where each player experiences a different style of play. It, it's You are using your personal deck, which we are calling a decision deck, to unfold a tableau building system in front of you that evolves your character, provides you with extra abilities that you can engage them by using your resources. And your resources are units, soldiers, spies, and advisors, which can be mages, scholars, or whatever, and money and gold in our era, and magic.
Okay.
So during that game, you will try to unfold the story. The stories have the style of choose your path. So each story has 3 different acts, and at the end of it, each act you are going to choose whether you're going to take path A or path B. And eventually, you are going to end up on a final scene that will tell you how the story will finish. Essentially, each story has 4 different endings. None of them is absolute. None of them is the correct one. All of them are correct. There are different angles of the same story, which narrate things that you will not meet on the other endings, and but work better for your choices. And that's why it's a choose your path story. It's a 2 to 4 players game, and of course, since it is competitive, you try to force your decisions through your resource management or through your voting during the scenarios.
How long does it take to play?
Uh-huh. It takes around 30 minutes per player. So for a four players game, that's a 2 hours game.
Okay, that's not actually too bad because I mean, I absolutely love story-driven games, but usually they go on and on and on and on for a very, very, very long
I know.
time. How did you manage to reduce the time per player without compromising on the storytelling?
That was the tricky part because we didn't want to uh, force the player to use selections, let's say, options during their turn. We want them to feel free on what they were doing. Um, what we end up is to create the sense of time pressure with a turn system that takes place during its scenario. And through the limited resources that each player has. So you can use as many resources as you want during your turn, but that will either end up very bad for your future turns,
Mhm.
or will you will manage to focus on what you want through your turn, and thus your turn will be, let's say, um, not that expanded. Uh, Essentially, we also have responses from other players during the turn. So, things, the other players must be there, so time passes by easily for all others. There is no so much delay time for other players.
That sounds very, very neat indeed. Um, when I was starting to read through the rules, um, one of the things that's kind of struck me is that this game seems to have an awful lot of potential for growth in terms of the number of scenarios that it could have, the stories that it could be told, that it could tell, and also even the characters that it could have. Do you have any plans to continue developing Monarchs of Camelot at a later date?
We have actually reconstructed some scenarios, two of them that were sent to you also, based on the feedback that we received from reviewers. And during Essen, we attended Spiel 2023, and we have created also several scenarios which we would like to release them as stretch goals during the campaign. Same takes for the NPC players. We call them speakers in our game. We have several new figures that we want to introduce to our campaigns, and hope we will do that. During the first Kickstarter, we also tried to release an expansion campaign for the game. Uh, we decided that in the relaunch we will not add this expansion in order to reduce the funding goal of the game. I'm not sure if we are going to introduce it. The story is written. We have start working on the development. We had working on we were working on the development of the campaign, and it's quite interesting with different angles. But we will see.
Mm.
I mean, priority is to release the game, and we have a lot of stories to unlock with the help of our backers.
Okay, well,
Hopefully.
fingers crossed for that. That would be very
Yeah.
neat indeed. Um, the game wise, the production wise, of course, what I have here is a prototype. Is not the final. What can people expect to get when they receive the game? Since I'm going to assume that this is going to fun because I am that optimistic. So, what will people get when they get the game?
Okay. Um, as I said, I'm not new in the market, so production-wise, this is going to be a neat product with emphasis on details. Okay, so we are using the right paper for the right purpose. The journey book inside will be uh, very beautiful. The aesthetic will change on several components like tokens with customized sizes, which right now what you have are squares and orthogonic shapes because they were helping during the post-production and the digital copy that you have in your hands. They are going to get the best quality that we can provide for a board game. And that's what's all about. I mean, up to now, always the productions that I handle were always top quality. Matters of paper, cardboard, and box.
Uh, are there any strategical plans to increase the type of, for instance, the tokens to bring them from cardboard to plastic or from cardboard to metal? Are there that sort of things, or are you just focused on producing the game and contributing with more NPCs and more stories?
Well, I'm going to say two reasons why we will not do it.
Okay.
The first reason is that they actually do not add any aesthetic or actual value to the game. Turning the game to uh, turning the units to plastic, okay, would create some, I mean, 12 to 50 millimeters busts that could be used, but will also be useless because you will try to figure out what is what due to their size. I remind that the resources are used and they are placed on the cards, on slots that are on the cards. So the base of those tokens should be around 13, 14 millimeter. So the total size will be extremely small. So we have explored that. Okay, it doesn't add to the game.
Okay.
And the second reason is that because we have explored that, we saw the price and what would happen to cost-wise, and I wouldn't pay that.
Okay, fair enough.
As a backer, I wouldn't pay that much money just to get plastic.
Okay.
On the other hand, providing extra characters enhance the replayability, providing stories enhance the replayability, providing scenes, the location enhance the replayability. And there is actually a cost. Someone paint them, someone write those stories, someone create all those things. So they are not the mean thing we could do. Actually, I believe they are the right thing that we should do about the game.
I like the sound of that quite a lot, because also the game looks beautiful. I mean, the illustrations that I have seen in that box are absolutely gorgeous. So that takes me to a question that I have to ask because of sorry.
Because before you ask,
Yeah.
let me praise the work of Jamie Noble Freer for the work that he has done on Monarchs of Camelot. He has become a beloved friend, and that was quite a ride along with him bringing Monarchs into life.
Okay. So the question I think I mean I know Jamie, so I know the answer, but I have to ask it because everybody needs to know this. Have you used any kind of AI to generate these images, the illustrations, or is it something that it's been created by hand from
Mhm.
scratch?
They are by hand from scratch by Jamie Noble artist, Jamie Noble Freer. Even the art that was given to, I can share you my Excel to better understand how we were working. They were, he was like becoming my artistic hand. He was excellent. I was giving descriptions of how I was expecting the things to take shape, and he was actually creating images from scratch. Everything are unique, and no AI was used. Uh, to be fair, AI will be very helpful in the future once there is an ethic structure, and when libraries are going to pay royalties to the artists whose art is used for the AI to learn the procedure. So I'm against using it as free. If I could pay an artist and then with his AI, let's say help, that could be an option, but there is no such thing. It's a very expensive hobby for everyone at this stage. So I prefer using the mind and hand of artists who I admire and I love their work.
Perfecto. That sounds very, very good indeed. Okay, let's talk about Kickstarter. This is the second time that you bring Monarchs of Camelot to crowdfunding. What happened the first time? What do you think went on there for it not to succeed?
What happened? Okay, we had a lot of time to a lot. Time is relative. We had some time to discuss about what happened during that period. Uh, Based on the feedback we received from friends and ex-co-workers and the backers and people that were freely saying their thoughts to me, we ended up that the first problem was that we didn't export our vision properly to the audience. The messages inside our Kickstarter page were mixed and they couldn't focus and better understand what the game is about. Okay. We managed to somehow, let's say, correct it as we were progressing the Kickstarter. We didn't stop the Kickstarter. We failed on the Kickstarter. We spent all days we promised in our effort to fund it because the goal was true back then and because we wanted to learn from the procedure. Okay. So we managed to change the texts. We eventually, even the texts that are people can find on the landing page are not right. So we end up discussing a lot, and we found out that that was one of the key parts that we failed. The second, which is very important also, is the total price of the project back then. The project had a cost at 50 euros, the game that you have in your hands. And there was a cost around for US, for instance, about 25 euros for shipping costs, which ended up essentially at 75 euros. Okay. Now, if you bought also the expansion, the shipping was 25 for the expansion and the core game, but for the core game itself, it was around 22, if I remember well. Now, the change between the core game and the core game with the expansion is not that big, but if you take it as a standalone cost, the core game 50 euros with a shipping cost 22 euros, then you have about 50% increase of the price, of the total price for a shipping for getting the game. And people didn't invest on that. Okay. So what we were trying to do now was to reduce the price of the game itself and reduce the weight of the game. The table of costs that we created back then was were the costs that were given by the companies. And now that we are in end of the first quarter of 2024, I see that those companies were correct on the pricing based on what I'm seeing on Kickstarter. So the prices were increased about 6 to 9% since 2023. But we will try to reduce the costs in favor of the backers. And honestly, it's not that we were trying to make money out of that. The difference now is going to be that we have done some changes on the product wise, and we also those changes are going to impact the final price of the game and the shipping cost.
So how much is going to be? I mean, if you can already, if you have it clear that at this stage, because the campaign hasn't started yet, how much will it be?
Regarding production, we are targeting 40 euro from 50. And regarding the um, cost of shipping costs, we are aiming for 15 euro.
Oh, that's actually a lot more affordable.
Yes, because we are on the brink of a step which was giving us the upper step of shipping costs, and by reducing the weight, you actually create severe impact on the price.
Yeah, no, that is very true because I know, having published books myself, literally going up 20 grams over one threshold immediately puts up the price of the shipping by 30%, and there is absolutely nothing you can do about it. Something
Yeah.
going from 2 euros to 5 euros is 20 grams difference. That's it.
What you can do when you are an established company is to absorb some costs.
Mhm.
But we are a startup company. I have the experience of previous campaigns, but these were not my money. I mean, my brother and I will invest on this project. This is a passion project, and we truly want to bring it to life and create more narrative games for the market.
How long has Monarchs of Camelot been in development? When did it all start?
This is the fourth year.
Okay, so you've
The
played
game,
quite
the
a while.
game was Yeah, the game was designed by Babis Janos. He pitched me the game around 4 years ago, and he was working on the game back to that era. It was more like started as a solo game, and once he told me that he didn't have a publisher and I had the company, we sign it instantly because it has this unique progression system for the characters uh, that I honestly believe that it's quite refreshing for let's say medium to heavy market.
Okay, excellent. And once the campaign is over and you can go on with and go ahead with the production, when can people expect to get this game in their hands?
6 to 9 months. I have never failed on deliveries. Never.
So,
I have delivered 15 projects.
okay.
Never. My worst delay were 3 weeks, I believe, only or 2 weeks, 2 weeks to 3 weeks, depending on the state that you were living
Mhm.
during COVID era.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's not bad at all because during COVID, I mean, shipping was a
W-
complete and utter nightmare.
We delivered.
Very, very.
We delivered.
I'm not even going to ask you how you did that because that must
No,
be
no,
some of the superpower thing.
I will have to praise a lot of people because, uh, as you can understand, I have worked with a lot of hubs out there, and they did magnificent work. We were in touch with which borders were closing. We were rerouting the shipments from different countries, etc. Uh, we were blessed on having the right people on the right spots, and I keep working with several of them. That's
Amazing.
simple enough.
That's quite amazing. Okay, people may be asking why we haven't spoken more about how the game plays, what are the mechanics, and all that stuff. But people, of course, don't know yet that you and I are about to play this game on, Tabletop Simulator, and there's going to be a next video where we're going to show in detail all the components and how it plays and everything. But before that, and to close this interview, why should people get this game?
Uh, They should get the game first because they like narrative games. Second, because they like the theme. Third, because it has a really unique, cool mechanic which incorporates very nice with the resource management and decision making. Making is the key point to the entire build of this game. You decide which path you're going to take. You decide which card you're going to splay. And splay is the word we use to describe how you place the decision card in order to create this tableau system in front of you. They should get a game because I truly believe that this is a unique narrative storytelling game. And if they are fond of that style, they should miss it. Definitely.
Sounds very good, but we are about to show them. So, humans, if you've been listening to the podcast through any podcast platform, please head on to our YouTube channel so you can watch this. And if you've been watching, then stay alert because the gameplay is coming very soon.